We must rebuild our community. This is what we must do. We have to do to survive. This is why this is imperative. And you know, hey man, all I can do is offer you information. If you don't want to receive it, it's understandable. HRap don't know everything. HRap ain't always right. But you know what? I'd rather be wrong trying to do it this way than right though. With that being said, I'm gonna give you this Black History moment. I want y'all to listen to it. It's very important and very powerful information. HRap B, talk to you in 5 minutes. I'm out. 1 second.
What up, African World? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and supporting this content. If you like access to full courses and sources, or you simply want to show your support, you may do so by clicking the Patreon link in the description box below. Jagama Kello was a military officer in the Ethiopian National Defense Force, also known as the Thunderstorm. He joined the resistance movement to fight for independence of his country against the Italian invasion of 1935. The unique thing about the history of Jagama is that he was only 15 years old at the time when he decided to act. Jagama Kello was born on January 29, 1920. In his early years, he lost his mother to illness, and his father also passed away when he was just 10 years old. His grandfather was said to have been a warrior, and Jagama was very fascinated and proud of this legacy. Following in his grandfather's footsteps, he joined the resistance movement to oust the Italians from Ethiopia. On May 1936, the Italian forces defeated the poorly trained Ethiopian military and took the capital of Addis Ababa. The Ethiopian emperor fled during this defeat, but this was not the end of Ethiopia, as the people certainly did not give up. As the Italian army began to advance, Jagama left his home with his brother to join the campaign of guerrilla warfare against the Italians. Despite not having proper weaponry, they gathered anything they could find to fight the invaders. Guerrilla warfare at this time was one of the primary tactics used to agitate the Italian occupation of their country. Leaving with what they had, they began to ambush Italian troops, and from their small victories, they would begin to arm themselves further. At just 15 years old, his guerrilla fighting skills, bravery, and heroism got him the name the Thunderstorm, as mentioned before. Others were quickly inspired by the bravery and success of the young Jagama and started to join the struggle. He and his brother began to control an army with over 3,000 men, all under their command. Jagama and his brother's troops were known as the Patriots. A journalist named Martin Plott, upon review of this time in Ethiopian history, had this to say about Jagama Kello. Jagama Kello was at the time no more than a young man. He was the son of a wealthy landlord who owned 900 acres of farmland with his uncle in Ginchi, not far from Addis Ababa. Jagama had heard tales of his brave ancestors as a boy and hoped to emulate them. When the Italian invasion took place, Jagama saw his chance. With his elder brother and uncle, he took to the bush, determined to resist. At first, he had no gun, only his elder brother had one. But they ambushed Italian troops and gradually armed themselves. Peasants joined the struggle, and by the end of the war, they had over 3,000 fighters under his command. One of Jagama's greatest moments was the battle at Sayum Mariam. According to Jagama himself, this was his largest battle he had fought, just 35 miles away from the capital Addis Ababa. A woman patriot told Jagama and his brother where to find the Italians. After this, they planned a surprise attack and won the day, receiving more than 2,500 rifles. This was Jagama's most notable victory and a very important event in Ethiopia's liberation. On May 5, 1941, after years in exile in Britain, the Emperor Haile Selassie returned to his capital. Jagama, who had received no British help during the 5 years of war, refused to go to Addis Ababa for the ceremony. In the end, the emperor came to Ginchi. Jagama says he put his 3,500 troops on parade to greet Haile Selassie. He was then driven in the emperor's own car to his palace, where he was awarded a gabardine coat and a gold watch. But the war was not yet over. Jimma was still under Italian control, The emperor asked Jagama for help, and he says he led his forces into battle. The area was swarming with patriots, many of whom may have been loyal to Jagama. He told the BBC that his forces captured some 500 Italian soldiers, whom he handed over to the British. It's interesting how far the young Jagama had come, starting off without a weapon to becoming one of the leaders of a decent-sized militia. Jagama remained in the military after the war and eventually rose to the rank of lieutenant general. The unique thing about Jagama and his resistance was the spiritual aspect of it as well. Jagama grew his hair into an afro, which he and his brother believed intimidated his enemies and gave them an advantage overall. For many African people across the continent, your hair is a big part of your identity, your power, and your legacy. And it's very interesting to note how a young Jagama honored that tradition. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.
Once again, it's on. As usual, you already know it's HRap B. Built for this network, we in the building. This is a program called Build and Destroy. It's a podcast, always remember. If you don't catch this in its entirety, you can go back, check us out. Or just about any podcast app you can find. Subscribe and comment. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. But like I was saying, man, we have to destroy this colonial way of thinking and get our mindsets back into a communal way of thinking. Family, clan, tribe, people. That's it. Family, clan, tribe. That covers all of it. Your family are the people who you love and cherish. Your clan and your friends added to that. Your friends and your neighbor. Your tribe is the entire community. That's it, man. It's not hard, man. It's not hard. It is really not hard to fix. But we've been told and we've been brainwashed into believing that we have an innate ability to not get along, we disassociate from each other, and that's not true. That's just not true. You can believe if you want, man. Believe whatever you want. But I just know different. You know, I grew up in a community who, if you didn't live in Chicago or if you didn't live in that community, you assumed that this was the most deadly and dangerous, one of the most deadly and dangerous communities in the United States of America. Everybody over there knew me. I personally had people from street organizations walk up to me, tell me I was a good brother. They always kept their eye on me and asked and let me know, to let them know if anybody approached me in a disrespectful manner. So even the people who you consider, or the propaganda behind it, that is not considered to be a good person, they're good people too. And if you ever read the book Malcolm X, you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from. Now, somebody mentioned the leaders of these rallies are not wearing not practicing social distancing, and they're not wearing masks. Do you find it strange that the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, and most leaders in our country are not practicing social distancing and they are not wearing masks? Most of them not. Besides that dumbass governor in the state of Florida, I put it on Twitter yesterday. This jackass does not know how to put on the damn mask. He put it over the top of his head. He is a legitimate Riri. He is a complete Riri. But this lets you know why that damn state is in disarray with this standing ground shit. Police officers, these rednecks attacking our brothers and sisters down there, and the fact that you letting people go out and violate the rules of social distancing. This lets you know that he's a Riri, and it also ultimately lets you know that this dude and the President of the United States and his cronies have a plan to get rid of your ass, your working class ass. I'm worried about my folks, but working class people, I don't care what culture you're part of, they don't like your ass either. So if you think just because you look like them, you down with them, if you ain't got a couple $100 million in the bank, newsflash, you a nigga too. So you can get mad at me and my folks, but they targeting your ass too. I'm just saying, you ain't gotta believe it. I ain't no issue with nobody. Walking around hating people is something somebody else needs to do. I just love my folks. That's it. You know, like I said last week, the way I look at my community is this way. We are currently trying to heal from a broken leg. Once our broken leg is healed and we go through our physical therapy, we'll be more than glad to help you and get well too. But up until and including that moment, I'm sorry. I cannot fight your fight. I want you to stand this, a race to stand up, but I'm trying to win. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, but these leaders, they're not wearing masks either. So this lets you know, well, this is a serious situation. They're not taking it as serious. They should be. So lead by example. Shout out to Governor Andrew Cuomo for calling out the President of the United States. You know, he do all that hemming and hawing, jaw jacking and slacking, and he ain't, Cuomo called him out. Like, man, but the plan that former President Barack Obama had in place calls for, y'all ready for this? To have 10 times the respirators as hospitals in America. I'm going to say that again. 10 times the respirators that are in hospitals in America. If that happens, guess what? We win. Y'all always know I try to provide my brothers and sisters with an economic angle to this. Here it comes. Here it comes. Do you understand that there's only one black-owned or one black-owned distillery in the United States of America? HRap. I thought you was trying to uplift the community. What the hell are you talking about a distillery for? The reason I'm talking about distilleries is because the one sister, Miss Braxton, look up, I can't think of her first name, Vanessa Braxton, that's her name, Vanessa Braxton. She's the only black person in the United States of America that owns a distillery. This sister owns her own distillery. She was reached out by the Food and Drug Administration and asked to do what with her distillery? Because it's the same equipment, to make hand sanitizer. To make hand sanitizer. So, the country is in a bad way. So, as we always do, we get a bunch of lemons and we make lemonade. That's what we do. That's what soul food comes from. Like I said, scraps, we turn it into a worldwide delicacy. So, here's our chance, folks. You got friends who are drug dealers, friends who are street people. You got friends and family who are athletes. We got all this stuff in our crew, right? So, what we do is start looking into getting a liquor license so you can open up a distillery so you can make hand sanitizer. You get your ass out of poverty. There's a bunch of factories all through the United States of America. My brother Mandelion from Cleveland, I know he knows a bunch of factories. I know some old factories in Los Angeles and wherever else our hubs are. Found one of those buildings, turn it into a distillery. Get some hand sanitizer. Why do we need that? Because I told you we're going to take preventive measures to make sure we stay alive. 2 ways to make sure we stay alive. You got 2 distilleries there, right? One of them's making alcohol, so now you can have your own alcohol distillery. And then the second one is to make hand sanitizer, and you've given 2 people jobs. 2 sets of people jobs. Second way, look into this. Those bottles, those plastic bottles that come from hand sanitizers, they're made in China. Those same factories, they got a way to open up some of those factories and make some of those bottles. Now when we're making those bottles, guess what? The pumps that are in those bottles, they're made in Mexico. Look, brothers and sisters, there's a way for us to get the fuck up off the ground. But we just have to be ready to do it, man. We have to be ready to do it. We cannot sit around with our hands in our laps waiting on the man to save us. He's not going to. He's not going to, brothers. Brothers, sisters, they're not going to save us. But that is a way. There is a way that we can do this. One black-owned distillery in the United States of America, That's shameful, brothers. That is